and we are still on our 30-day video challenge, and I wanted to make a video because I think you really need to get this. I was inspired because I have a lot of parents come to me, and especially during the corona time now, they're like, my kid is expected to read this text and I have no idea how to get them to read this text. And what ends up happening is that I am the one who is doing all of the work. And the reason being is because the fluency is, right? It's just like down the drain. You almost dread reading it with them because you know it's going to take so long. I did a video that was similar to this, but today I want to give you 3 specific strategies that you can do to increase fluency at home with any book. The only thing is that when you choose the book, y'all got a good habit of doing this too. When you choose the book, make sure you do not choose a book that is way above their reading level or way below their reading level, because it gives a false positive. If it's too hard, you really don't get to see what they're working with because they're asking you how to say every single word. If it's too easy, then it's definitely a false positive because you think your baby is reading fluently, and in essence, the book is just too easy, okay? So you want to pick a book that's just right. That means you want to pick a book that is slightly above their reading level, but not way below their reading, okay? Hope that makes sense. So there are 3 strategies that I use in the center, and those strategies have worked wonders because not only does it build their fluency, they have read it so many times using these strategies that what ends up happening is that their comprehension goes through the roof for that particular test because they've read it over and over and over and over and over. So these are my 3 strategies. I hope you can read it. My handwriting is a little funky today. I decided to get creative and use my son's whiteboard that I use when we're teaching. But I'll type these in the show notes, okay? So strategy number 1, it is called choral reading. Now, what word do you recognize in that? You probably recognize the word choral, right? And what does that automatically make you think of? It makes you think of the choir. It may make you think of chorus. It has something to do with them reading in unison, okay? Think about when you go to see a choir perform or when you were in chorus class, you knew it was a good choir when they sounded amazing together. And that's the purpose of choral reading. You want to be able to make sure that when they're reading with you, in unison, like a chorus, that they sound good, okay? So no one is reading faster than the other person. No one's reading slower than the other person. No one's reading louder than the other person. Everyone is in one voice, one sound to accomplish the best fluency possible. Now, when you try choral reading at home, there's some things that you have to think about. This is not a good strategy to do first when they are getting the book for the first time. So they need time to practice it by themselves, okay? So it's not a good idea to say, hey, we're going to read this story or this book aloud together, and they've only seen the book for 20 minutes, okay? You're going to get frustrated. So I always encourage that you use a choral reading strategy when it's a book that they are familiar with, okay? Which takes me into my second strategy for repeated reading. Repeated reading is like the bomb.com. If you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I really push repeated reading because it is like one of the biggest things that you can do to give your child that boost of confidence, especially for a kid who is like really terrified of reading aloud at home to you, or if they're really terrified for reading aloud in front of their classmates. This is like the bread and butter of building that confidence. What repeating reading allows them to do, it allows them to practice that same text over and over and over and over and over and over again. I tell my parents in the center that if it sounds like they are doing it over and over and over again, just make sure it's getting better and better. It should not get worse and worse, okay? Same as I've said earlier, repeated reading is not meant for them to read a harder text. It's meant for them to read a text that is on their reading level, okay? Another thing to consider with repeated reading is that it's really good for those kids who have a hard time with like sight words, or like say you teach them a word on Tuesday and they forgot it on Thursday. What repeated reading does is, because they're reading it over and over again, their brain is basically storing those words inside of their head, right? It's in their little toolkit. They don't have to go try to figure it out again, okay? So I always encourage repeated reading. It's my favorite strategy because it allows for us to be able to make sure that they have a chance to build that fluency, okay? And that takes me to my third strategy, and it is echo reading, okay? And echo reading is just like what it sounds. Think about it. When you go in a cave and you shout out your name or you shout out something, whatever you say, it comes right back to you. And that's the same thing with echo reading. All you simply do is you get a text that is appropriate, and you allow them to basically listen to you read in the perfect fluency voice. And when they hear that, then you say, can you echo what mommy just did? Can you sound just like mommy? The trick is that mommy, you have to be prepared, because if you're reading in poor fluency, you don't want them to echo that. You want them to echo something that's like really, really, really good. So I always tell parents that if you try that strategy, just make sure you've read that text before. Make sure you know when that dialogue is coming in. Make sure that you're really being mindful about following that punctuation, because punctuation is a huge deal, okay? So let's recap. Your child is having a hard time with fluency. There are 3 strategies that you can do to make sure that they are able to read any text. First thing first, number 1, you want them to do some choral reading. Remember, this is not good for them to do if they got the text on day 1, okay? Second thing, you want to do repeated reading. You can start that on day 1, okay? They can practice this over and over again, and it's okay for it to be repetitive as long as their fluency is getting better. And then number 3 is echo reading. Whatever you put out is what you want to come back to you. All right, I hope these 3 strategies help you, and keep me posted. A lot of y'all come and watch the videos, and then I never hear if it works out. So make sure you come back, keep me posted, and don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're feeling funky, go ahead and follow me on IG. I'll see you in the next video.